name is Tina and yes, welcome to the G Sport Hub, but I'm sick, so sorry about my voice and sorry if I don't sound super excited. But even with my horrible voice, I could not resist making this video because big things happened. And ever since I released my short summary, it was 40 minutes, on the whole DFM versus tol2 drama, many people have been asking me what is going to happen with DFM now. Obviously you could see Utapon was playing top lane, so what is the situation with that? You can check out that video to know the situation, but right now I want to talk about what happened since then and what is the conclusion, because we finally have a conclusion. Kinda. So I released the whole tol2 versus DFM drama on July 8th. This was when DFM was playing against CJ, which they had to forfeit. But despite this forfeit match, the next one DFM was already playing with Utapon top and Milan as their AD carry. They were playing against 3-3, so take it as it is. Some people were surprised that Utapon plays top lane, but he is also a top laner. I don't know how many people know this, but he started out as a top laner. Even before the drama, he was playing 50% top lane in solo queue, so he is definitely a top laner in heart as well, but he said multiple times that he prefers AD carry on stage. Anyways, he was playing top lane, Milan was playing AD carry, their substitute AD carry, and this roster remained to the last game of the regular season against Sengoku Gaming, who they beat 2-0, so it looks like this roster works. Even in playoffs, still the same roster. They are in finals now, about to play versus the Hawks, who they previously beat 3-2, but here's the thing. A lot of people have been asking why don't they just sub in their top laner from Academy, and you can debate if that would be a better roster than just Utapon playing top lane and Milan AD carry. It looks like this is a solid roster, but the thing is they can't even do that, even if they wanted to, because, and this is something that not many people know, probably not many people are like me who just like reading rulebooks, but the rulebook very specifically states that the trading window ends on July 1st. And just a reminder, this happened at the start of July, so after the trade lock. And teams do have a chance to sign their whole academy team. There are some teams like Fennel or STG who do sign their whole team, but the academy team is not automatically sub for the main team. The main team is required to have one substitute up to 5, and DFM only had Milan, their academy AD carry, no one else. They could have signed the other ones, but they only had Milan. This is very important because July 1st, the lock happens and they can't change it anymore. There are some cases when they can still change up stuff. For example, in the LCS, remember what happened with Danny and Kaori? Kaori was not signed for the team but still got permission from the LCS, which in itself is a kind of controversial situation. But besides that, let's jump into today's news. From the LJL side, we had 2 competitive rulings, and there's also one from the DFM themselves. I drew a lot of parallels with the Dennis situation, and you can say that how is this so fast while that one takes years? Because I'm gonna be honest, this DFM case was very simple and there are not that many new news in this article. Coach Kazu and Coach Saros were fired ever since then from DFM after their own investigation, and a little bit later on July 28th, because DFM's CEO Umezaki said that he's gonna meet with the board later on the 28th came out DFM's announcement, where it was stated that CEO Umezaki is gonna take a pay cut, 50% to be precise, for a whole year until 2024 July. So from DFM side, we already kinda knew what their investigation came out the result with, but as of today, August 16, LJL has announced that they also concluded their own investigation. They went through what the scope of the investigation was, which is determining if there was any harassment against tol2, which is if there were any discrimination or assault against tol2, and if it's a systematic problem or just a specific one. They have interviewed a total of 11 people in this case, including Kazu and Saros, as well as people from the team management, and going through those 3 points. As for the harassment, they have found that yes, what the coaches did could be received as harassment, but there weren't any more serious harms like physical assault. And finally, they recognized that while DFM was trying to do some things, it was far from sufficient, so EDs counts as a systematic problem. And because of that, the official ruling is for Kazu and Saros that they're gonna be banned from all League of Legends esports activities for 6 months. And as for Detonation Focus Me as the organization, they're gonna be fined for 2 million yen, which is about 13,700 US dollars. In addition, LJL required DFM to show transparency about how they're going to improve the mental health care in the team. And Ubezaki has to attend a training basically similar to what happened in previous cases with previous CEOs. And obviously, just as I was editing the video, there is new information. Just very quickly, this is about what LJL said that they should establish some things. First point is that they conducted an investigation to all players, streamers, and coaches, and they couldn't find any more harassment. Second point is that all players, streamers, and coaches are going to attend a training. Some of them could not do this so far because of a schedule, but in a week, everyone is going to attend the training. And the third point is that they're going to establish a hotline kind of consultation desk. This is going to be with the third parties, so no team officials are going to be involved, and all players, streamers, and coaches can access it. So in the future, if anything like this happens, they can contact this third party and not go on with her saying that they're afraid of their life. That's it, back to the present. But this was just one piece of information, because immediately after that, there was a DFM announcement as well as an LJL announcement at the same time. These all happened in like a 5-minute interval. So basically at the same time, DFM posted on their site, where basically the main point was tol2's contract has been terminated as of yesterday. And there's gonna be more news about DFM's and tol2's future in the future. Finally, even though I talked about this already in the previous video, they have just stated it one more time to be sure that when tol2 said on Twitter that he was fined for contacting third parties, it was not because he was contacting others about the harassment, it was because of his breach of contract. And basically DFM and tol2 has talked about this, tol2 understood that there was a miscommunication, and both parties agreed to not escalate this particular case. So right now, tol2's contract has been terminated. He is not part of the team anymore. Actually, he can just join any team he wants now. But that's when, immediately after, there was another article by LJL themselves. And this is gonna be probably a more interesting one because everything I've told so far kind of we knew already. Because DFM got a penalty for changing the roster after the roster lock, which was July 1st. And this is interesting because they didn't mention names. And I've seen multiple possible ways this could be interpreted. Because remember, with tol2's contract terminated, that means DFM at the moment does not have a substitute. They only have 5 players signed with Beautapon Top and Milan AD Carry and no substitute, and this is not a valid roster. After that, the article goes through about the rules that I've just talked about, having to have at least 6 members in a team, and that this roster lock ends with July 1st. So because of that, in addition, DFM receives a 1.5 million yen penalty, which is about $10,000. So currently we are at like 23,000 in total. And that there's gonna be restrictions of any newly signed players. So let me get to the last part, and it's gonna make a whole lot more sense. Because it was stated that any new signings can't play in the LJL 2023 summer split, including the finals happening in like this weekend. And it also mentions though that if there is some special emergency case, like with the Dennis situation, there is a chance to have emergency changes. But because Beautapon can play top and Milan can play AD Carry, I don't think they're gonna use this. And the most important part, literally the last sentence, this restriction does not apply to Worlds. Yes, so it is possible that if DFM win LJL, which actually has a chance, then they can submit a brand new roster for Worlds. So quite possibly, even if DFM qualifies to Worlds, this is gonna be the last time this weekend when we see Beautapon playing top lane. Because in case you don't know, there's gonna be Asian games coming up like next month, and Beautapon is playing AD Carry there with the team, and there's gonna be Worlds after in like October, November, and people were confused that if Beautapon plays top lane now, then bot lane in Asian games, then top lane again in Worlds. From the looks of it, DFM can submit Beautapon as an AD Carry with a new top laner for Worlds. Now, when I said this roster change was kind of vague, what did I mean? That is that there was actually another signing that DFM did, which is that Vivid, who used to be DFM's support, completed his military services and now back in Japan as DFM's coach. DFM did state it in the post when Vivid was joining them as coach that he can't be on stage because it was already past the roster lock. So Gizmo is gonna be the one who's doing the coaching on the big stage, but Vivid is their coach now, and we can probably see him joining at Worlds in the stage. And this also could be the reason that they got a fine, because this is past the signing of the roster lock, but the penalty could be just because tol2 was removed from the roster. Anyways, what's important is the last paragraph, because even though we're gonna see this same roster with Vivid not on the stage in the finals, it is explicitly stating that for Worlds they can have new signings. And with that, I think this drama is over. I mean, obviously we don't know who's gonna play for Worlds on the top lane. DFM's academy team honestly didn't have the best academy split, finishing 6th from 8 teams. But their top laner is called Karaga, literally the Japanese fried chicken, which is funny because we also have a player called Kentucky in Axis Academy. So that means we literally had Karaga, which is Japanese fried chicken, versus Kentucky in the Academy League. And now comes the best or the worst part, depending if you like chaos or not. Karaga is not even really a top laner. Because even though he was playing top lane in the LJL Academy League, he was playing mid lane in like the other high school tournaments. And I mean, he just won the high school tournament like a few days ago, playing mid lane. There is still things we don't know, so the future is still a mystery, but they can change the roster so we can get hyped about what kind of roster they can bring. And very last, I swear, last, something worth to note, because in LCS in North America, there is a rule that some players can sign until their team is out of playoffs. So after their team is out, they are going to be free agent. This is not a thing in Japan. In Japan, every single contract ends in November, so there's not going to be LJL free agents until November. And because there is Arya and Harp already, they can't even sign a Korean import. So in conclusion, DFM has the ability to change the roster for Worlds, but the question is, can they? Do they want to? Because right now Yutapon is a strong top laner and Milan is a good AD carry, so I'm not sure if they can find a top laner of that caliber so Yutapon can play AD carry. This is a hard situation and there's gonna be more advancements for sure after finals. And this is why you should follow G-Sport Hub on Twitter, because we're gonna post about if something happens. But about this whole topic, this is gonna be the last video, the conclusion of the whole drama. Thank you for being here. I'm sorry about my horrible voice. I'm probably gonna take a big break. And my light just died. My light is just signaling me that it's time to stop. I'm gonna drink some honey. I'm gonna make sure that my voice is not dead totally. And I'm gonna play Genshin 4.0. So it's gonna be a great day. Before that, I'm probably gonna make one more video before the finals to hype it up. But even if I can't, make sure to watch our finals August 20th. There are gonna be some fun things about it. So as I said before, just check out our Twitter. And latest, let's meet after finals when I'm gonna have a little bit of a retrospect of what happened and what to expect from whoever team wins. So I think that's it. Yeah. Bye bye.